Hello! In this tutorial, we'll introduce you to two new types of component block used to manually set adjacency conditions for the external surfaces of your building. During the tutorial, we'll show you how to use ground component blocks to modify ground adjacency conditions and adiabatic blocks to create an adiabatic adjacency where there is no heat gain from a surface. An adjacency in Designbuilder determines the conditions on either side of a surface. For example, whether an external wall is in contact with outside air, the ground, or another building. Designbuilder automatically assigns relevant internal and external adjacencies between blocks and zones based on the model geometry. This could be assigning a ground adjacency to an external floor surface adjacent to the ground, i.e. located at z equals 0, or assigning an outside air adjacency to external walls and roofs, etc. The default adjacency settings can be overridden by adding ground or adiabatic blocks to a surface, or by data input options at the surface level if desired. This tutorial will concentrate on drawing the ground and adiabatic geometric objects which can be used to manually set a non-standard adjacency. I will start with ground component blocks, which are used as a convenient way to set the adjacency condition of an external wall above ground level. Ground component blocks are typically used when all or part of the wall is in contact with sloping ground rather than the ambient air. Blocks below ground level, such as basements, automatically include a ground adjacency via the assignment of a below-grade construction without the need for additional ground component blocks. The block you see here has been constructed with its ground floor at z equals 0. I will clone this block and place the copy below ground level. I'll introduce cloning block properly in the next tutorial, but I think it is helpful to see visually how the windows are automatically removed. This shows that Designbuilder knows the block sits below ground level and that the windows are not relevant. I'll now delete the basement block I created. We'll assume that our building is constructed on a sloping site and that the ground level at the rear or northern side of the building is 0.5 metres higher than the front southern side. To represent this, we can draw ground blocks. For this, I'll select the Add Block tool, change the building type to Component Block, and Component Block Type to Ground. Keep the perimeter shape as polygon and the line type as straight. Now zoom into the west wall to enable easy location at the end snap points. Cancel the zoom and hover the cursor onto the west wall until highlighted. Press and hold the Shift key and click on the endpoint snap on the bottom northwest corner. Keep the Shift key pressed and move the cursor vertically upwards along the edge. Release the Shift key and type the line height as 0.5 metres and press Enter key to create the second point. Press the Shift key again to lock the cursor onto the wall and move the cursor to the southwest corner and click on the end point snap. Keeping the Shift key pressed, move back to the start point and select it to confirm the perimeter of the block. I will move the cursor in an arbitrary distance from the wall and left-click to confirm the depth of the ground block. Similarly, I will draw a ground block on the north wall. Note that the component blocks are shown in the navigation panel here. The thermal effects of ground adjacency are dictated by the ground data at site level. Here you have 12 fields allowing you to represent the mean ground temperature for each month of the year. These temperatures are used as the outside surface temperature for surfaces adjacent to the ground. Different ground modelling methods are also available, including 2D standard ground modelling and 3D Kiva modelling. For more information about determining appropriate ground temperatures, please see our programme help. I'll now move on to discuss adiabatic component blocks. Adiabatic component blocks are typically used to represent adjacent buildings that are directly coupled but which do not form part of the building being modelled. It is assumed that the adjacent building operates at approximately the same temperature as the model building. There is no heat flow across an adiabatic surface boundary, which represents the absence of a temperature differential and the insignificant heat transfer between the buildings. We'll assume that our building is semi-detached or directly coupled to another building to the east, which is conditioned to the same temperature. The east wall then becomes an adjoining wall. I will draw an adiabatic block to represent this. I'll first orbit the view to enable the east wall to be used as the drawing surface, and then select the Add Block tool and change the component block type to adiabatic and the perimeter to rectangle. Move the cursor onto the east wall until highlighted and press and hold Shift. Click on the endpoint snap on the bottom northeast corner. Keep the Shift key pressed and click on the endpoint snap on the top southeast corner. Move the drag face cursor away from the wall and left-click or type in the required dimension to confirm the depth of the adiabatic block. Press Escape to cancel the Add Block function. The adiabatic block is a dark purple colour and is again shown in the navigation panel. It is useful to be able to check that the component blocks drawn are directly in contact and have created the ground or adiabatic adjacency condition as intended. We can do this by going to zone level, where you can see adjacency indicators on the zoned surfaces. The green markers indicate the surfaces on the ground floor, and the north and west walls were ground adjacencies, and the red marker indicates the adiabatic adjacency on the east wall. Using the navigation panel, we can also see different adjacencies on each surface. For example, the north wall includes ground adjacency indicated by the green text. We can also see that the surfaces in contact with the adiabatic blocks, such as the east wall, are coloured in red in the navigation panel. Designbuilder handles adjacency automatically, but if required, you can also refresh the adjacencies displayed using the rebuild command. If you think it is necessary to use the rebuild command, you should save the model first. Designbuilder will also automatically apply a below-grade construction to any external surface with ground adjacency. When an adiabatic condition is applied, Designbuilder will change the construction type to internal partition. We will discuss this in more detail in the tutorial focused on the construction tab data. Adjacency can also be manually set in the construction tab at the surface level. We recommend leaving adjacency set to auto, unless you have a reason to set it manually. See the programme help for more details about adjacencies, the use of ground and adiabatic blocks, and how this impacts automatic assignment of constructions. This finishes our quick review of setting adjacency conditions and using ground and adiabatic blocks in Designbuilder. If you want to learn more about the topics introduced in this tutorial, including top tips that will improve your modelling efficiency, then our Basic Model Data Constructions and Infiltration on-demand training session covers adjacency conditions. We hope you found this tutorial useful. Further information on the specific topics and wider application areas can be found in the comprehensive Designbuilder program help, other tutorials and webinars, and our on-demand training.